Thumbtack presents Tile Trouble. Every single time I use my sink, I make eye contact with the uneven grout on my kitchen backsplash. The crooked corners eye me, and I'm haunted by more tiling questions than I thought possible. What kind of pro can fix a backsplash? Can I replace one cracked tile, or should I replace them all? What if I just use Thumbtack? I can hire top-rated pros, read reviews, and compare prices with a tap, all on the app. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Ow and ow!
It's time to get the inside scoop on the Utah Jazz. From the play-by-play voice of the Jazz, David Locke.
Sweet revenge! Ow!
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ebb, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to talk some draft, some Jazz, some NBA in general. Very excited about our next guest. Of course, he's the radio voice of the Utah Jazz, the one and only David Locke. Hi, David.
Hey, David.
Well, hello, Jake Scott. Hello, Ben Anderson. What a pleasure. I get to get smarter here. What do we got?
I don't know if you heard the Jazz have a pretty good draft pick coming up.
Yeah, number 2. I did hear. I was quite excited. I was very pleased about this.
And it's a good draft. So as you've begun your research, and we are, 4 weeks from today? Or 5 weeks from today, I believe, is the draft.
Yeah.
Where are you as far as what you've taken a dive into and what you see?
Well, I'm not as good because I haven't had my Ben Anderson KSL Sports draft breakdowns yet. I've been looking and searching. If I've missed them, let me know.
There's a couple out, yeah.
Okay, if I've missed them, then I apologize. I've seen some mailbags and a lot of podcasting, but I hadn't seen the articles yet. So I've watched a good portion of 4 guys: AJ, Darryn, Cameron, Darius Acuff, a little bit of Wilson, a little bit of Brown, a little bit of Wagler, and a little bit of Fleming. I probably don't need to watch. I feel like I only need to watch 6 at this point. I think I need to watch. I just watched Darius Acuff, and I think that's worth watching. I don't think that's totally off the table. The little bit I've watched of Mikal Brown, I actually want to watch him again. I'm not entirely sure I think that's totally off the table. But obviously most of the conversation is AJ, Peterson, Cameron Boozer, and there's some Caleb Wilson conversation, so I've tried to hover around that.
When it comes to Peterson, do you care much about the creatine cramps?
Well, I care a lot about the cramps. I care a lot about, where he is and whether a guy who hasn't played 30 games can play 100 if we ever need him to. And I think you have to figure out what his experience was. I did my whole podcast on it yesterday and tried to be very kind of factual because I think the minute you get into the world of Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins, you're kind of now have jumped the shark on anyone having any accurate information about you. So I went back to try to read every feature article imaginable and try to get all the stories prior to that from reporters that were there and actually following it. And it's interesting. To me, I think it's really, so they have this hell week that Bill Self puts on. There's this conditioning non-basketball, signature, thing of Kansas basketball. Sounds like it's straight out of Archie Bunker in 1960. And a week later, after practice, he gets a full body cramp that lasts for 45 minutes, which is really long, by the way, that was incredibly painful and sent him to the hospital. And he's openly referred to it as a traumatic experience. So it seems as though after that experience, every time he felt something funky with his body, he checked out. Like, literally checked out of the game. Like, to get me out of the game. I mean, not like checked out. Like, I'm not sure that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Right?
Absolutely not. No, if you have experienced something traumatic, again, his words, and you start to feel it coming on again, especially when you are trying to just get to the end of the finish line so you can get your $100 million paycheck on the other side, I don't blame anyone for being extra cautious or his family being extra cautious. Along, though, with Darryn Peterson, because there was so much talk about him, because he's a highly touted draft pick. I think a lot of people heard the Kobe comparison and heard the Michael comparison and maybe have heard Anthony Edwards comparisons. That is not what I've ever seen on camera when I watch him play. What do you think is his best skill? What does Darryn Peterson, who I think if you were to ask most Jazz fans right now who they think they're going to end up with, they would say Darryn Peterson. What is his best skill in the NBA?
The balance he has while dribbling, which allows him to change directions, hesitate, or continue in the direction he's on. That's what I would go with. Obviously, his jumper is good, and he seems to have great touch. But I'm wowed by his balance, which is also the same balance that allows him to then elevate when he needs to over people to get shots off and dunk, as he did against BYU. What would you go with?
I just think he's an elite shooter. And to really just knock it down really quickly, he took 7 threes a game in college and hit him at 38%. It's like, yeah, that really matters, actually.
But A-Cup took 7 threes a game and made 44%. And unlike every other player in this draft, in the second half of the season got better.
No, whoever drafts Darius Acuff is going to love him. I like Darius Acuff. I think the defense is obviously a big issue, and it's going to come out, and it's going to be an issue that you run into when you're at a point where you're trying to win. But I do think you're going to get to a point where you're trying to win before you figure that out, and that means he's done some winning along the way, the same way he won at Arkansas. So I'm with you. I'm not out on Darius Acuff by any means, but I just think Darryn Peterson, when we talk about what his archetype is in the NBA, a lot of people think it's 6'6", mid-range guy, the way Kobe or Michael was. I think he's going to do most of his scoring at the three-point range, and that's fine.
Yeah,
you saw Ray Allen a lot in Seattle. He was a good player.
Right. His ability to move, his ability to shoot off the move was impressive. But that goes back to the balance thing I'm talking about, right? I just thought now, I mean, the other issue is, right, was he just coasting and trying to get, the noise got loud, and then does he try to get to the final? Is he just trying to get the finish line in the final 9 games of the year? Because his numbers were, 37% from the field and 27% from three? Honestly, what my biggest takeaway has been when I've been watching this draft? These guys are really, really good, but I'm not as, sold that this is, this totally incredible once-in-a-million draft that's been called all year. These guys are really good. They're really, really good. But they're all similar to guys. It's not like 2 years ago when I couldn't find a player I liked, right? It's not that. I'll never forget watching Ira Newell or whoever it was, Asa Newell last year, who went 23rd to Atlanta, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's actually better than any player I watched all of last year. So it's not that. These guys are really, really good, but I don't find them I think there's a real chance that AJ DeBonsa could be RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, or Paolo Banchero. Now, 2 of those guys are an MVP. Are all-stars, but they're not, they're not. And, there's a real question what happens with Darryn Peterson. And, I think Cameron Boozer's really, really good, but he could be Domantas Sabonis, which is really good. It's an all-star, but it's not what we're those are, I think those are actually the most likely scenarios for those players. And I'm not sure that they're I'm not sure I would call any of those 3 players purely franchise-changing.
There's not 3,
really good.
There's not 3 Cooper Flags at the top of the draft.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And there's certainly not a Victor Wembanyama.
What did you think about your Locked On Wizards guy throwing out using Ace Bailey to trade up?
I mean, I think he's doing his job beautifully, and he's engaged a very active fan base. And I think Salt Lake City, Utah, and where I live, is the greatest place on the planet. And there's actually probably one place in the world I would move to, ironically, and that's D.C.
Do you think the Jazz would have any interest in moving off of Ace Bailey?
No, I can't imagine it.
You were
I thought Ace Bailey.
You were in all the press conferences I was in, David.
We were playing fake basketball, but I thought Ace Bailey was really great for the last 2 months of the year. Did I just buy in too much, or was he that good?
Well, one of the things you can pay attention, we listen to a lot of coaches talk. We specifically listen to, and you more than me, Will Hardy talk. And Jake can do the same thing because Jake has heard every Will Hardy pre-half and post-game show for his entire career. So one of the things that coaches do accidentally, whether they know it or not, is they tell the truth by talking about some of the names they bring up first. And sometimes they do it on purpose to give somebody props. But at the end of the season, when you asked Will Hardy what you thought went well, he could not stop talking about Ace Bailey. He brought up Ace Bailey every chance, and I don't think it was on purpose. I think he meant it because I think the Jazz really like Ace Bailey.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 92-92, or let's go 105-105 with 145 left in our first game of the year, I think the chance there's the play's called for Ace Bailey. Like, who are you running that play for right now? We're tied. There's a $1:45 left coming out of a timeout. Who are you running a play for on our roster?
Well, Svi, obviously.
Exactly.
Well, Key can dribble, which helps. Keontae George can dribble, and that makes him a potentially primary option.
Yep.
But no, you're not wrong. That Ace has an ability to get to a shot off of one or two dribbles to, as Giannis Antetokounmpo called it in their little video they shot together for Nike, your kill spots. Get to your kill spot and rise up, and Ace can do that. Or will be able to do it if he can't do it yet.
And as wonderful as Lowry and Jaren are, they can't. At least I'm not aware that Jaren can't. How's that? And the data says he can't, or has not been very good in the clutch.
As of 48 hours ago, David, the Oklahoma City Thunder were on the verge of a 5-championship dynasty, according to most people in the NBA. And as of 12 hours ago, it was completely dashed, and this is Victor Wembanyama's league. Where do you fall on those two parties?
Well, look, I tweeted it last night, but I had said it to a bunch of people prior that I thought if Victor lost, I thought this series was was Michael Jordan versus the Detroit Pistons. So I thought this would be like Victor, and I still think this could be true. I think there might have been a Pyrrhic victory last night. I think they're going to be gassed for a while. I think that this is the last series Victor loses until 2030. And I don't know why he loses in 2030. But I think this is the series we're going to look back at with Victor, where he learned how to win. He had this breakout game in game one. I think they still probably lose the series unless Oklahoma City really can't score against them, which they have not scored against them yet in 6 games this year. So maybe they can't. And I don't know what you do. Well, I do. Here, let's go back to Can I go back to the Jazz for a second?
Yep.
Does Victor Wembanyama mean you have to? This is my podcast tomorrow, so I'm giving it away. But does Victor Wembanyama mean you have to draft Cameron Boozer? Because the only way you are beating the San Antonio Spurs is having 5 shooters on the floor and having a big who plays a handoff pick-and-pop game at the top, who either Victor Wembanyama is guarding and in drop, so therefore the big is wide open, i.e., or the way that the Warriors used to kill Draymond Green, you're playing kill Rudy Gobert or Draymond Green, is you're playing the handoff game with Cameron Boozer, and your guard or shooters coming off, getting the handoff and shooting, and Victor's dropped. And so they can get that shot. But the only way Isaiah Hartenstein is not going to was played out of the series within 3 minutes. Rudy Gobert was played out of the last series within 5 minutes. Walker Kessler, unless he really is a proficient three-point shooter, and you're comfortable with him shooting 17 threes like Alex Caruso did last night, is not going to be able to play against Victor Wembanyama. No center can play if Victor Wembanyama's on the floor because you can't score if you have a center on the floor who can't shoot. So do you suddenly need to draft Cameron Boozer because he's playing your 4-5 and playing as the fulcrum of the offense because the same way Nikola Jokic is the one player that seems to bother Victor Wembanyama?
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
What about the other side, David? How would you guard him? And what did you think about how Oklahoma City decided to?
Well, I mean, they did it first. They were the ones who kind of was it last year in the playoffs, or when? Where was it last? Was it in the? When did they first put Caruso? Was it in the? Was that in the playing game this year?
Could have been in the in-season tournament.
In-season tournament, yeah.
Yes, could have been
in-season tournament. Yeah, in-season. They were the first to do this with Caruso. I'm not sure. I think this is the answer.
I don't think it is.
Well, he had 40 points last night.
But I don't Isaiah Hartenstein is probably the answer because he can be you're just being really physical with him and try to wear him down, but then you can't play on the other side.
It's the hard part. You need a heavy guy on that end.
Well, I got to say, I got a tweet today, and I have decided not to light the guy up. So it's like, you get those tweets, and you're like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And like 6 hours later, you're going to do it. Like, this is probably the one where I'm going to do it. It was some old, I don't even actually know anything about this person, but I've just absolutely decided that this person is 65 years old and angry. And I'd love to see what Wemby would do back in the days with one of the big bruising centers. Because, Billy Pulse is going to cause him a freaking problem. What are we talking about? Felton Spencer is going to guard Victor Wembanyama. He's going to pull him out to 27 feet, drive by, and dunk on his ass every time. What are we talking about? So, the idea that you just put a big burly guy on him to try to beat him up, then he's just going to he can go out to 30 feet. And then he's just going to play in space on you, and you can't move. So, I don't know the answer.
Yusuf Nurkic had very good success against him this year.
Heavy, make him tired.
Yeah. But what does Nurk do that you talked about earlier? He does the top of the key, dribble handoff, and then on the other side, he can actually lean on you for a little while, and you hope in game 60, Victor's not giving it his all.
Right. And I think that's right. That's what Jokic does to him, right? Jokic leans on him and just wait and just is heavy on him. But it's I just think this kid has – I also just think the thing that we're not talking enough about is how hard he plays.
Yeah.
He runs the floor and plays so hard every minute of every act. I mean, he's on the Russell Westbrook scale of play hard, which is incredible. I mean, that's what I think is so magical about Victor is just how hard he plays. And that's actually what my reaction was on that Scoot Henderson-Victor Wembanyama game in Henderson, Nevada when they played. That's what I left that game with. Was, oh, my gosh, this guy plays that hard. Same thing with Chet, actually. When I watched Chet in Gonzaga, that's what jumped out was how hard he played. So I think, I don't know the answer, and I'm fascinated to see what Mark Dagnall does next. Dagnall, by the way, side note, I'm just kind of babbling, but those two inbound plays late in the game last night, where he got Shea on the left-hand side with Victor pulled, and then the other time where he had Shea drive the baseline and Victor had to decide between him or Holmgren for the three, those are pretty magical half-court spacing sets. They've got to find a way to do that in just a regular half-court set because really the story is they can't score. I mean, I think their offensive rating last night was a 103, and they've been below league average in their 5 games against them this year.
David, Ben is such an obnoxious Knicks fan. I can't help but cheer for Cleveland in this Eastern Conference final. So tell me why Donovan Mitchell can get the Cavs past the Knicks.
I feel like Cleveland is – I thought actually Cleveland's Game 7 was the first time Cleveland's played like I thought Cleveland should all year. Cleveland's been like this mercurial group to me that I watch all year, and I'm like, wait, why aren't they better? Every time I watch Cleveland, I'm like, why aren't they better? Until Game 7, then they were actually that good. But they're really good. Like right? Like they're like Kobe Altman put together, to me, like a nearly perfect team. He has Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, and they did a nice job of they did the whole lose for 3-4 years to get a bunch of players. Dean Wade, Max Strus, and Sam Merrill are kind of fabulous pieces to that puzzle, particularly Max Strus's ability to defend and be physical and rebound if he needs to. Harden and Garland are nice. Like, I love that roster. I think they're going to be tired. Harden and Donovan seem to be allergic to running at any point in time in either direction. It's kind of a weird thing. So I think that'll hurt them. But the Knicks don't. Jalen Brunson doesn't really want to run either. So, and Karl Anthony Towns doesn't want to run either. I think it's worth watching Cat in this series. Cat's assist rating in Philadelphia was one of the highest assist rates of any player ever in a playoff series, which is an interesting kind of way to think about him. But I also think it's relevant to the NBA draft of whether or not we really might be in a day and age where your 5 has to be playing out on the floor and passing and having open cutting lanes all around the basket with 4 shooters around him, or that's your way of dealing with non-shooters. I think and I think I will say this, back to the draft, I was not intending to have this sound like a Cameron Boozer show, but if you go look at the top 20 guys in the NBA who played handoff this year and the centers, 19 of them are basically non-shooters, and the 2 guys that are shooters, or one of them's only average and one of them's great, are Karl Anthony Towns and Nikola Jokic, and they are 1-2 in the league in handoff efficiency by a large margin. And if you believe Cameron Boozer is a shooter, then I think you have to ask yourself of whether Cameron Boozer can become the fulcrum of your offense in that realm in a manner that's really virtually unstoppable right now. There's not a big that can shoot that plays the handoff game that is stoppable right now.
Well, I think the Wizards should take Cam Boozer number 1, and I mean that.
You do. I mean, I'm not. The more I watch, the more I'm heading that direction a little bit, I think. The only question on that is, can you afford? This might be stupid. Like, I think Cameron Boozer is the right player for 46 minutes of the night. And then, are you okay drafting a guy that with 2 minutes left in the game, you probably can't give him the ball to go make a play for you?
Yeah, that's the question. He's not Victor Wembanyama.
Right. But he's probably the better player for 45 minutes of the night.
Yeah, if you believe the math game, over 100 possessions, if he makes the right play 90 times, you're probably going to win that game.
And that's the argument on him, is he wins everything he does. Like, he really would not have lost if it wasn't for a miracle shot by UConn, because they probably would have won the title.
They lost 3 games this season by a combined 5 points. It's not an accident.
Right, and he was won whatever. I was also impressed, by the way. I mean, I'm just coming off a deep dive on A-Cup the last 2 days. I was pretty impressed with him in big games, important moments, and wins, too. Right? He's on that U18 USA team. He's the MVP. He wins the Detroit Public High School League as a sophomore, and it's the first ever sophomore MVP of the league, of the Detroit Public High School League. That's a pretty good league. Ever. Like, A-Cup to me was like the 7th pick of the draft because he was too small. Then he measured at the combine. He wasn't too small. So I think there's 5 guys that should be talked about in this realm. But the Boozer conversation is really interesting, Ben. It's really interesting. Right? Over a course of 82 games and 82,000 possessions or whatever, 8,200 possessions, and he's going to play 36 minutes of those, so he's playing 75% of those, he probably is the better player than everyone involved. He's not as flashy, and in the final 3 minutes, you probably can't go give him the ball and tell him to drive to the basket.
Before we let you go, David, are you up here? Are you in Arizona? I guess what I'm asking, what time zone are you in? Because our guy, Jamil, is going to be on Wheel of Fortune on the 26th, and I don't want you to miss it. You got to look up your local listings. Make sure you know when the wheel's coming on.
For some silly reason, I returned when it snowed. I came back from the desert and came to my house and got 4.5 inches of snow at my house. I did not time this correctly. So I am here now, and if I lose another bike day or two to weather, I'll get out of here and come back a little bit later.
Well, whatever. Just be back home by what time does the wheel come on here, Ben? Like 4:30, 5:30?
Is it that early?
It's
an old
one of those.
person
We
show.
got to watch our guy.
And do we know how he did, and we are not saying, or has he been?
He's been NDA'd.
Yeah, he didn't tell me.
NDA'd, and we're all respecting that.
Yeah, he didn't tell me.
So I'm sure you can bet on it.
You can't bet on the wheel. You think?
can bet on everything.
No way.
You can bet on what David's next word is going to say. Yeah.
Well, I think it's very exciting. We know a true celebrity.
I mean, it wouldn't be like we'd have like markets in which people like knew things beforehand and put money down on it, and then like made lots of money on things, betting random things that they knew the outcome of, so that they could win a lot of money with it. We wouldn't have that going on. That doesn't exist, does it?
No. I think that was in the news lately. I don't know. I think
that
might have happened.
I was just checking.
David, thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming on.
Congrats on the big jump, and well earned for both of you. It's really fun to listen to, and congratulations.
Thanks, Locke.
Thanks, David.
That means a lot. Appreciate you.
Right.
All right, that's our guy, David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz and host of Locked On Jazz, the podcast. But most people, I think, already knew that.
Correct.
Stay tuned. 97.5 DKSL Sports Zone.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.